Welcome back, everyone. All right, today we're back on this Dodge Caliber. We've been hunting down a problem for quite some time. This engine always had a weird shake after it warmed up at idle and you were in drive. You put it in neutral and it smoothed out, but always in drive it had this weird shake. And then if you look at our previous videos, we had problems with the intake manifold and the flapper runner. So we got all that stuff worked out. The car's got 230,000 miles on it, so it's had a catalytic converter already. It's had an O2 sensor, a manifold, obviously a tune-up. Well, the check engine light came on again. This time it came on for the sensor that's right in the intake manifold down here. I think it's called the, I don't know if it's the map sensor or the air sensor there, the air intake sensor. But it came up for this. So we went and purchased a new one and reset the code, went for a drive, and immediately the car started acting crazy again the same way. Same code tripped out for that sensor, so immediately we start looking at the wiring. We start pulling the wiring and start finding just, brittle, crusty wire. We're looking for any breaks or anything, and that's why it looks like a mess. So as we were coming around back here, we found this little, I guess, I don't know what that is. It's a relay or some type of ground. And this connector here. This thing right here was super corroded. I mean, it was green. You couldn't see it. So we sanded it off. We're going to put that back on. The next thing we found was the PCV hose. Now, this thing's original, 230,000 miles. Usually these things fail. So we started to see little cracks in it around the PCV valve side. And if you look down here, that's flattened out. And it crushes super easy and it chokes it out. So I think what's happening is when it's drawing vacuum, it's choking itself out as well. So hopefully the check engine light was from that rusty spot. The vibration was from this hose getting choked out. And then weirdly enough, we traced the wires all the way back here and around to the ECU, and these plugs had oil down inside of them. Don't understand how oil got into them, but as you can see right there, there's oil stains. There was a few pins saturated in oil there. I don't know if there was oil splashed here, and I don't remember there ever being oil splashed in here, but this is a used car that we got. But it's just very odd that the oil was up in that ECU plug, and then we had all this electronic issues. So we cleaned that out. We sanded off that ground or that relay there, and we are replacing the PCV hose. This hose was extremely difficult to find. Dodge said that they didn't have it in stock, and I'm pretty sure this one had to be made because it says it's got a date of 5/15/2024, so this is fairly new. And it took 3 weeks to get that hose from Dodge. Nobody else had it. You can't get it aftermarket. So if you're looking for the part number, let's see where the part number is. There it is. That part number is 050470001AA. That's the part number for that hose. And you can only get it from Dodge, and I think it was out of stock until we placed the order, and we had to agree on paying before it was shipped or made, and if we had gotten the order wrong, there was no refunds. And that's all just for a PCV hose, a $15 hose. I'm sure you can probably take it and cut a piece from the auto store, but this snake's behind the intake manifold. We had to take the air box off to get to it. So it's just best to replace it with an OEM one. We're going to get all this back together, start it up, and hopefully it doesn't give us any trouble anymore. All right, we got everything back together. We're going to start it, and hopefully this fixes it. Well, that check engine light's still on. We got some other things going on, so we'll check it out still. All right, we're back from the test drive. We just had to reset the ECU, basically clear the codes with the OBD scanner, and it went back to running phenomenal. So we're just gonna recap on some of the things we did. The PCV hose here. If you got some weird shaking going on with no check engine lights, check that PCV hose and see if it's collapsed. That's probably gonna cause your shaking problem to go away. if you get a check engine light for your sensor here in the intake manifold, you're going to want to go ahead and check a few things like we did. First, obviously check the sensor, see if it's bad, but it's really hard to tell unless you have a computer and like bi-directional. So they're like 15, 20 bucks a sensor. So change that out if it's old. Pull these ECU plugs and check those. We found oil in there. We cleaned that out. And then that random little plug right there, we found had corrosion all over it. So we sanded that down. After taking care of those 3 items, this car at 232,000 miles is running like a sewing machine again. So I hope this helps you guys. This has been a thorn in our side for probably about 2.5, 3 years. Just intermittent check engine lights and rough idling. But the car ran until one day the lightning bolt came on and it just shut off. I hope this helps you guys. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.